Welcome back to Family in Focus with Dr. Wendy Schofer. I'm the pediatrician coach who specializes in helping you parent without all the food and body drama so that raising a healthy family is actually easy and fun. Previously, on an episode of the podcast and the blog, we talked about how there's really very few bad foods. In the grand scheme of things, if foods are spoiled, charred beyond recognition, or if they've gotten really funky monkey where bugs and maybe only pets are getting into them, well, we know pretty quickly those are bad foods. So what about the rest of the foods? So this is something where I've started looking at it. Is it a yes food, a no thank you food, or is it a not yet food? And this is something that we can apply throughout the age range, going from infants all the way through adults. And the way I look at it is that yes foods are foods that I love, foods that are developmentally appropriate, foods that I enjoy, I welcome, and I eat regularly. So this can include everything from veggies to candy. If you eat it, you enjoy it, it's a yes food. No foods. No foods are just foods that I really just don't care for. For infants, it may be one of those foods that they're just not ready for. Developmentally, they're not at that stage. So no, thank you. We're not going to serve that to my infant. If you have allergies, okay, let's not eat the food that you're allergic to. If you have celiac, let's please not eat gluten. Those are no foods. No, thank you. That's not for my body. If you have an intolerance of dairy, no thank you to dairy, unless, of course, you have a ton of lactate. So it's still something where there's a lot fewer number of no foods than the not yet foods. So not yet foods are where we really get to explore, okay, these foods that we're not eating right now, is it possible that they just will become your yes foods? They're just not yet there. So maybe it's a food that you haven't tried yet, or you haven't had it enough, or maybe you just haven't practiced with it enough for it to become your favorite food, which is a yes. So I found that there's a lot more of these not yet foods than no foods. And the way that we can tell the difference is to keep on exploring, to keep on trying, okay, and seeing how we can expand our diets. It really comes into exploring, practicing, and really having an opportunity to look at food as really questioning, well, what's next? How is this something that I can open the door that this food for myself and for my family may be incorporated into our diet on the regular in the future? So looking back at an example, when I was growing up, Brussels sprouts, they were always served boiled, and they were absolutely a no thank you food. I did not enjoy them one bit. They were repeatedly served and, dare I say, forced on me, and that did not help anything. And that did not help me enjoy the Brussels whatsoever, the way that they were served, the way that they were presented to me. And it was just something that I didn't like. They were a no thank you food. Later on, my sister, of all people, serves me roasted Brussels sprouts at a meal. And I looked at her and I said, are you kidding me? We grew up in the same household. Brussels are a no. Like, we don't do that. She's like, just try it. They were amazing. There was a bit of spice on there. It was served in a completely different way with roasted and just the texture, everything was different for me. It was a completely different food. It was something that I looked at it in a completely different way, even though it was still Brussels sprouts. So what previously was considered in my mind to be a no food, I don't like these, was actually just a not yet. I hadn't had enough exploration. I hadn't had a different way of looking at it. And maybe, quite honestly, I just wasn't at the stage in life where I was open to trying that food, which I was when I was in my 30s and my sister introduced me to it. So I just didn't know at that time that they were actually a not yet food and that they would eventually become one of my new favorite foods. That's what a not yet food is. It's something that we're just waiting for that opportunity, continuing to practice, giving it a little bit more time, maybe experimenting a little bit on the side, getting curious about how is it that I can eat this food, enjoy it, and then it is a yes food. And that's really where there's this continuum that we can keep on practicing and trying and seeing what works for us and then applying that to our families. How is this something that we can really expand that opportunity to talk about food in a new way? Not about it being good or bad, but about practicing, seeing how all of our foods are a part of this rich whole diet that we have. So, the whole collection of the foods that we eat. And as we explore, as we practice, we get to really expand that and truly be able to enjoy the foods that we are eating.